Absolutely. Thanks for being on. All right. So, Josh, I'm just going to kind of go back a little bit because I remember coming into your office not too long ago, maybe like a year and a half ago. And, you kind of told me your story. And I was like, wow. Like, I remember just being kind of like shocked. Like, wow, that's really how you came in. You've been with FFL. And, so just to kind of hit it off, kind of, if you don't mind, who are you? What's your background? And kind of what got you started with FFL?
Well, thanks. Mine is a little bit of long and short story at the same time. So I've been with FFL since 2015, I think. Yeah, but I started in the business 2012. I was one of Sean Mike's downlines back in the old company, actually. But back in the days, like it was really, really hard to, make money with the way the structure of the old company was. So I don't like to say I quit a little bit, but I put my career on pause for a while. Trying to go to I went to grad school to go get my MBA. I was hoping to go get a job in Wall Street after that. But then it so happened that the career I was trying to go into, there were like 100,000 jobs lost around the world in that career. So that was even before I graduated. So that dream was kind of dead before I even started. So I got out of grad school. The guy that had recruited me reached out to me. He's like, hey, we left the old company. We are at the new practice company. You want to join us? I said, well, let me check on my license to if the dust is off, I can still join if it's still active. So I joined them, and then within 9 months, the guy that took us to the company decided to start his own small company, and I was like, here we go again. Are we going to start moving? I said, I'm not doing this. So I remember kind of just trying to figure out things for a while, and then I got a call that, a big chunk of FFL top producers had left the old company. Sean had formed a new one. And I reached out to one guy who was one of my uplines. He was actually the upline to the guy that, was my immediate upline. So I was like, dude, what's going on? So he's like, oh, this is it. We don't have much. We don't know where this thing's going, but you can check it out. At that time, I was also working with another guy out of Maryland. So I signed up. They only had America at the time, So I signed up for America while working with other company. And that's how I came to FFL. I was very, very part-time. Like I would write a policy once in a blue moon until the upline at the other company really, really ticked me off. He had a huge spread over me and maybe like 50-60% override. And then I reached out to him to get help for a case I was working on. And they're like, yeah, dude, we're going to have to split that case 50-50. And I'm like, you're overriding me 60%. And the little that I have, you want to split. And I'm like, I'm so out of here. So I started keeping my distance. At the same time, trying to write a little bit of FFL until I think about 3 years ago, I decided I was going to go all in with FFL.
Awesome. And Josh, I want to just kind of pause you right there because I think sometimes like when we have new agents getting started or like an agent that has never been exposed to this industry, like outside of FFL, we take it for granted sometimes, right? Like the resources and the people and the leads and, the trainings and everything that we have access to, like you didn't have access to that, right? And, like the spread, like, Josh, can you truly tell me, like, do you override any of your agents more than max, like 20%?
No, that wouldn't even make sense.
Right.
I mean, if you give your downlines a higher comp, they'll be motivated to work. We just had a new girl out of, I think she's in Delaware. My immediate downline is the one who hired her, and I was trying to get a 25% spread. I'm like, dude, I've given you the max I can give you. What's this 25 spread all about? I'll take out maybe what I gave you. So I think when you give them the max, they'll be motivated to work. And this kind of just goes back to why Sean formed this company. Back in the old company, it was also 25%. So even if you did 20K, do the math. You don't need to be a math genius. 25% of 20K is 5K, right? Put in the advance, it's 3,000 something, it's still broke.
Yeah.
I
So
rem- I remember being at one of their conventions, the old company, and one guy was like, "You see all those people on the stage? All those top producers? They're all broke."
and it's sad, but it's crazy because we come into FFL and we don't start anybody, below, like 100, it just depends. But no one's coming in here and making this massive spread. Like you said,
Mhm.
even when, you had an agent hire an agent, you're like, look, you're not overriding somebody 25 points. Like that's too
Yeah.
much, right? So
Yeah.
I love hearing that so much because I think sometimes we don't realize like the comp that we have here at FFL, but not only that, the fact that like our uplines are not overriding us, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. And that just feels a whole lot better, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you feel guilty, like overriding somebody 20, 30% in FFL. Like you just feel dirty, to be honest, when you do something like that. But sometimes you have to educate a certain individuals, especially when they're coming from a company where that was a culture,
Right.
So you have to educate them on that. So I think it's a work in progress for some people, but I think just an education thing.
Absolutely. And I remember like, coming from, my practice company, so to say, when I got started, I was at a 60% and my upline was overriding me up to 50. They were overriding 50%. So every time I made a sale, my upline was almost making the same amount of money. And like you
Wow.
said, I was a top producer, right? But I was still broke. I was broke. I was like, wow, thanks for the trophy. I hope I can pay my rent this month, right? Versus coming over here, you're actually getting paid the proper comp that you should be as the agent who's dialing the lead, booking the appointment, seeing that family and helping them. So thanks for sharing that, Josh. Absolutely. So just to kind of now switch kind of roles, so to say, your team's blowing up. You guys are growing really quickly, and I love seeing it. When you're getting a new agent started, what are some of the expectations that you set for that new agent?
Well, the first thing is that just making them realize that this is a simple business. Just make it, don't overcomplicate it, and also just be a student of the game and don't do anything crazy, because in the last 1 year I've had a couple of agents that really did some crazy stuff, but being a student of the game and always be on the trainings. Trainings are really, really important. Dial session especially, like, never miss that. When I started out, we never had this. Here in Massachusetts, when I was an insurance agent in the old company, I was the only agent in Mass, I think. I think there was another guy in New Hampshire. So that support wasn't there. We'll drive once in a while to Connecticut. But now we have all this, you can get on a Zoom, you can reach out to any person within it, not only your organization, but any other organization. I'm sure, Marisa, you have a lot of agents reaching out to you who are not part of Solidity,
Right.
right? But still get to help them,
Absolutely.
and just having that culture to know that I can reach out to anybody, I think that's a big deal. I never had that, and so I knew there was a lot of money to be made in the business if you help a lot of people with the right training and the right support. That wasn't there for me in the beginning. But coming to FFL, you find just it's there. And as long as you're willing to be held accountable as well. I think for me in the beginning, that was one of the things that I really struggled with. I really never wanted to be held accountable. That all changed when I started working with my client, right? Like he gave me some condition, dude, this is how it's gonna go. So, okay, let's do it. And if I mess up and I know he's mad at me and I'm like, okay, let's get it over with. Let me just call him. Let's get it over with, you know. But it's part of growing up in the business.
Absolutely. And I think it's a big deal, a lot of the stuff you just said, in terms of like it's a testament, like Josh, you're not, gonna financially, be have any financial impact based off being on this call today with our group, but you're doing it because you pour into other people's teams, right? And that's what
Absolutely.
we do here. And that's the culture, right? And it's definitely a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I love what you said about, the accountability, right? It's like if we don't want to be held accountable, then we don't want to be held accountable. So if you are brand new and getting started, I think that the accountability piece is really big. Like, Josh, I can remember, going back to just a year and a half ago, again, sitting in your office. And by the way, thank you again so much for letting me be there, because I grew up a lot there, by the way. And
Thank you.
Paul challenging, you and I to do a dial team. And we were like, okay. And we were kind of nervous about it, right? But we made it happen. We got on there. We just dialed. And before we knew it, we were booking our appointments up a lot earlier than we ever would. But instead of leaving the office at 9, we were like done at 12. And we were like, now what? Right. And
Yeah,
it's
I remember that very first one we did. I think we're just the three of us, you, myself, and I think Christina.
yeah.
And we're like, because Paul had been begging us for like maybe 2 months to start the dial session, and then we finally got it. I remember getting that was an 8, 3 of us. How's this gonna go down? But we were able to, do everything we had to do. If I recall very well, both you and I were done by 11:30. We were done with our appointments. And it was because I was on this side looking at you making dials, Christine, and vice versa. So we held each other accountable. And
Absolutely.
instead of people, instead of people showing up and they have their cameras off and things like that, it doesn't work. I've actually had to call out a few people. I remember this one guy on our team shows up on dial session and has his camera off. And he had told me he would be dialing the previous night. So I said, dude, why don't you turn your camera on? He's like, no, I'm actually driving to New York to go pick up a dead body. And I'm like, what? So you're pretending to be here. It's not helping you. It's not helping me. So let's just get real and come on, do what you have to do, and let's get to work.
Amen. So it's like, let's step here. And if you don't want to step there yet, I'm not going to push you, but it's on you. It's not on me because I tried to help you out. Right. And I think that,
Absolutely.
We both get that support too, whether it's from Paul or other people that we reach out to. And I think that that's what it's all about. So love it. And then, Josh, you play a lot of roles, I guess, in life, and probably more than I even know of, but being a dad, being a husband, and running an organization and growing an organization, how important is it for you to keep like a very tight schedule, so to say?
I think that's very, very, very important, especially for me within the last year. Not only just that, because my wife has been in grad school doing her PhD, so I've had to pick up a lot of mom-dad roles, to the extent that Wednesdays I actually had to stop running on Wednesdays because just wasn't possible. So I really had to schedule my stuff where, I drop off the kids, and then rush to the office, do what I have to do, and then the run days. Usually my wife would pick them up in the evening. So just making sure that at this time I need to do this time I need to do that. That was very important. Otherwise you find yourself all over the place, and there were so many times that I didn't know what I was doing. Like literally didn't know what I was doing. So it had to come to a point where, at the beginning of the month, I know, sit down with my wife, okay, what is it that we have going on this month? All right, mark that on the calendar so that I don't get a call at 3 p.m. Did you pick up the kids? And I'm like, oh, here we go again. But just marking everything on the calendar at the beginning of the month, that is very, very crucial. I'm telling you, there were so many times. It came to a point where, my wife really had to call me that, hey, you're doing this today, Okay, just tell me at the beginning of the month, and then let's put it on the calendar, and will be good. So it's very, very important. Otherwise, you find yourself that you're missing a lot of stuff. You might even find there was situations where I had booked appointments. I was going to a client, and then I forgot that I needed to do either get the kids or get something. And you know how hard it is. We are doing booking appointments, and then all of a sudden you have to abandon the appointment, and that happened to me so many times. So it was a learning process, but kind of figured it out.
Absolutely. So it's like taking us basically the growing pains in that sense and saying, how do we fix this? And now you and your wife work together to make sure that everything is ironed out, and for you, for your business, and for your family. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then, Josh, when you're purchasing leads or you're helping a new agent purchase leads, how often do you purchase them or recommend that they be purchased? And, how many leads should that person, kind of have in front of them?
So leads, I think no compromise. You have to buy leads on a weekly basis, whether 2 times a week or whatever, but it has to be done on a weekly basis. You can't buy leads this week and then you go buy the next batch like 6 weeks later. You want to sell everybody that was in the first batch. It doesn't work, and especially when I see new agents come in today, they'll be like, oh, this lead doesn't work, and they're chasing every lead. So I was actually challenging one of my agents last week. I mean, this kid he's a sharp kid. Because, oh no, these leads don't work. So he's tried like every lead. Finally, he got to buy the mortgage protection brand new ones, and he didn't sell anything. And I'm like, so now you tell me, is it the leads which suck or is it you who sucks? And I left it there, and I was just pretty open, right? And then just come to find out that he just hasn't been doing as well. But leads have to be built on a weekly basis. If you can afford to do $1,000 a week, fantastic. I know a lot of people when they're coming in, they don't have a lot of money. You can do maybe $500 starting with, and then increase from there. Not where you make your first batch, whatever sells from the first batch, and then you go start paying all your bills. Like, leave all your bills behind, whether it's your rent or mortgage. They won't kick you out. I mean, it's just a month or two, you'll be just fine. But invest in your business. Make sure you get a point where you're doing at least $1,000, and then start going up.
So essentially, Josh, what you're saying is like when a new agent gets started, it's like, yes, you need a lead strategy, you need a lead order, but at the same time, you have to be dialing on the leads. You have to realize that a lead is a lead is a lead is a lead. Like you said, the new mortgage leads, the good leads, right? Or whatever it is, whatever you define as the good leads, said agent was working those leads, and then another lead type and said, well, they both aren't working. And you're like, well, you're not working, right? Your mindset sucks, right? Like you said, it's not the leads. So I love that.
And well, the upline wasn't helping too, so that was a problem as well. So now I have to deal with this kid and deal with the upline. But in the end, he realized that it's a lead is a lead. You just get there, do what you have to do. What I see these days, which is very sad, is people want to get, it doesn't matter whatever lead type, and dial for 30 minutes and have 12 appointments and then they go to the beach, right? It doesn't work like that. You're going to have to put in some work. You just have to know your numbers. If I'm using the brand new mortgage protection leads, if I'm using the instance, if I'm using the second chance, whatever, how many do I need to get to 20, 30 appointments? That's what you need to know. Like I had a guy says, I want to order leads for $100, and do you think I can book 15 appointments? And I'm like, call me when you wake up out of that dream. Like stop.
But you tell people these things not to hurt their feelings. You tell them it because it's the truth and because you've seen it so many times that you don't want them to have to deal with it, right?
I'm just tired of playing nice, Marisa.
Josh is ready to be keeping it honest and real. And it's like, that's the best thing we can do for our agents though, right? It's like, hey, that's not working. Like, hey, you buying 20 leads is not gonna help you, and it's not gonna help your mindset, right? And I love one other thing that you just said, I want to highlight it too, Josh, is on your first lead order, you said like, you might be, your rent might be due, your car payment might be due. And like, we get that, but you're starting a business, whether you come in and you want to just personally produce, or you come in and you want to, build a team, either way, you're starting your own business. So,
absolutely.
Taking those like first, few applications and that you're getting paid on, and realizing I have to reinvest this back into leads, because if not, I'm not back out of business and I'm back in the same spot that I was, a week ago. Right.
Yep.
So that's a really big deal of taking your first, like I hope everybody, if anyone takes anything from this call, it's taking that first, amount of money you're getting paid off those first few policies and reinvesting it back into leads. Like Josh said, to the point that you're able to invest $1,000 per week into leads, because that's how you're going to win here at a high level. If you tell me that you spend, you tell Josh, somebody is spending $200 a week on leads, but you're not booking 30 appointments, we're not confused. Like, you have a lead problem, right?
Absolutely,
And like Josh said too, it's like, it's a numbers game. Like, you got to know your numbers. Like, my numbers and Josh's numbers might be different. My numbers and, everybody on here's numbers are going to be different, but the only way you're going to know that is if you track it. So I love that, Josh. So thank you so much for that input there. Um,
Absolutely.
and then in terms of annual convention, since it's coming up, how important do you think it is for everybody to be there, basically, that is taking this seriously and, wants to win here, to be there? And what were some of your takeaways in the past years of being at convention?
So I think convention really changes a lot of people. Mindset literally just gets, it's like you get hypnotized. Let me put it that way. Like you go thinking one way and you come out in a different way. Um, I mean, we've heard stories in FFL where people were in FFL for like maybe a year and they did nothing. And they went to convention and finally everything just took off. And it's definitely that happened to me as well, right? Like I didn't believe any of the stuff that I was seeing, but when you see somebody get on stage, training, and you hear the background, they're not different from you or from me. Our background is, they may have been flipping burgers at McDonald's. They may have been doing whatever, but they came from a place and they were able to teach exactly what they did, the steps they took to be where they are. That's really important. The Arizona event, which was that a month ago? I was supposed to go to that event. I paid for everything. I even paid for dinner, and I ended up not going again because of my schedule. There was a guy we had just recruited from another company, top producer from there. He came. He was like, "Oh no, man, our company, we have this IUL, blah blah blah." He went through that. We flew him there. He came back and says, "Bro, are you telling me what I saw is real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's very real." As I'm telling you right now, he's onboarding his entire team from the other company. And that was just a one-day event. And I told him, we have to get a certain number of people to Miami. He's planning on getting 200 agents to Miami, right? That's just what one event did for him. Now imagine being there for 3 days, right? Listening to every top producer, every top manager. It is mind-blowing. So I would urge everybody, if you're on the fence, like if you have to fly, if you have to drive, if you have to walk or crawl, like do whatever you can to get there. It would change
Absolutely.
business.
100%. And I know, like, even just like you said, kind of being able to lock arms with different people, ask different people questions that maybe you don't see every day, and really having kind of some questions prepared for certain people. So when you see them in the hallway, you can just be like, "Hey, I'm Marisa, great to meet you." And they might not know who you are, but now you can DM them on Facebook. "Hey, I met you at convention, and I was just reaching out because I have ABC question." Or just going up and asking them, like, "Hey, I see you're killing it. What does your recruiting strategy look like?" Or, what does your in-home look like, right? Being able to have that face-to-face, that's huge, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
you said, Josh, that one event had, one day helps this agent say, like, not only am I coming here, but I'm committed to get 200 people at convention, not because it's going to monetarily help him, but because it's going to help everybody see the actual opportunity. It's
Absolutely.
like Josh, you're not getting paid per person that goes to convention, and neither am I, right? But we
Maybe,
know the impact.
maybe we need to change the business model, Marisa.
Hey, I don't think me and Josh are gonna do that, but me and Josh do have a lot. We got a lot of jokes. But essentially, like Josh is saying, one day of being in front of and exposed to all these agents seeing success, it's about literally why not you, right? So I love that. And then just to kind of close out, Josh, if you had one message to every new agent that just got started, what would it be?
Be a student of the game and also don't do anything crazy. Like learn as much as you can, but don't try to get a PhD in product knowledge. Like don't get hung up on, I need to know every rider. I don't care. Like product knowledge, they're gonna die run a code. Period. That's it. That's product knowledge. And then also just, especially when you're coming in, money might be tight and you see America's gonna pay you just for submitting an application that gets approved. Don't do anything crazy. They'll terminate you.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of agents in my organization within the last year that happened to them. So please don't do that. The temptation could be there, but do not do it. Do straight up stuff. Actually, if I may share with you, we had an agent that came in like that, and really crazy. She got terminated from America, but then she went and got Aetna elsewhere. And then she thought she had Aetna through us. Then I get a call from the upline and says, hey, our agent just did $100,000 this past week. I almost jumped off the roof, and she sends him the screenshot. 28 final expense applications. That comes roughly to maybe $400 a policy. How many old people are gonna do $400 a month? And literally, when I got off the call with this upline, I get an email from AIG. Literally within seconds, it says, "Hey, we need verification of Social Security," and then I'm like, "Here we go again." Right? So please, guys, do not do that. If you do the right stuff, this business will reward you handsomely.
Absolutely. And thank you, Josh, for pointing that out, because it's one of those things that it's vulnerable, because it's like, we don't want to bring it up and bring attention to it. However, it is important that everybody is aware that like, even if you're not doing that when you're hiring, you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that other people aren't doing that either. Like Josh said, you're like, I see this debt with Americo, and then I get an email from AIG, and it's a lot. So just kind of being able to make sure you're kind of keeping track of them, not micromanaging, but making sure that, we're all being ethical throughout, the company and throughout the business. Because anybody that's a part of your team is a part of your team, right, Josh? So
Absolutely.
Awesome. I love that. And, I really appreciate you always just keeping it real and just being yourself. So thank you so much. Thanks for everything that you do that ties, our teams together. It means the world to me and to the team. So we love you, and we appreciate you being on today, Josh. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, man.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me. And you guys are crushing it, and hoping for the best. Hopefully to see another integrity partner out of the New England area.
We got 2 integrity partners coming out, and then we got like 5 more after that. So I'm excited to see it. Awesome, Josh. Thanks for being on today. We appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So Josh Mwanza, if you haven't seen him on the dial team, you should. He rips it up on dials, and he's just been there kind of since day one of, really kind of growing this thing. So he's been through the ups and downs with all of us, and we kind of get through a lot of stuff together and brainstorm a lot together. So if you want Josh's information, reach out. He'd love to talk to you. But other than that, we are going to go ahead and do some agent recognition from this past week. And Christina's going to go ahead and pull that up because I guess I'm still learning how to screen share. My excuse is I'm too busy to learn how to screen share, which isn't a good excuse. So nobody should use that. All right. So we're going into week 4 of 5 of December. I do think it's really important that we realize that we're going into week 4 of 5. So again, the week starts on Thursday. So welcome to week 4. And the week ends on Wednesday. We do want to make sure we're submitting our numbers each and every Wednesday. That's really important. A lot of you guys have been doing a great job of posting in the Slack group, both the FFL Solidity group and then the daily sales, which is a really big deal. Another thing I do want to mention is, if you haven't seen it, in the Slack channel, there's now an in-home help section. And on, the FFL full-time schedule run days, which are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, there's a virtual genie on there who will be making product recommendations. So if you're in home and, maybe you're calling from the home and, I don't answer because I'm in a home, or whatever it might be, or maybe you just kind of are a little bit, intimidated, you don't want to call from the home, you feel like, you kind of overthinking that whole process, put the question in the in-home section, in-home help, and then you'll see the virtual genie will be answering you. So again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So you want to make sure that, we'll do our best job to be answering on other days in that channel, but still reach out, still call from the home. All that stuff is still in place. Just one more avenue and one more stream that we can help you guys out when you are in homes. and when we're in homes, because I still need help when I'm in the home sometimes. So Virtual Genie, again, it's going to be an in-home help. You just post your scenario, they'll answer you back. So pretty cool tool to have if you're not able to get in touch with your upline. So if you got that message, please share the news with your team, with anybody that's coming in, to just kind of take a look at that channel. And we definitely did hijack the daily sales channel. We want to continue to do that to encourage the whole West Coast base shop to be posting in there as well. So that's that. Okay, so week 4 of 5 we're going into now. Again, I don't make this slideshow. If I did, I wouldn't put this on here. However, so top producer issue paid week 1 would be myself at about 10,005. And then top 5 producers, December week 1. So this was the week that, just to kind of bring you guys back, this was the week of Thanksgiving. So from the 24th to the 1st. So 24th of November to December 1st. So number 5 was Zach H at 6,600. Number 4, Christian at 7,200. Number 3, Yori Her at 7,700. Number 2, Evan at 8,500. Great to see Evan back up here and crushing it. And then myself at 10,500. So great job to the top 5. And one thing I do want to point out is, the top 5 in terms of the issue paid numbers, it's starting to be really cool to see different names on there and different people really just stepping it up and saying, like, I can kill this thing. So super proud of all of you guys. And way to go, top 5 producers week 1. And we do have some newly licensed agents we want to go ahead and welcome to the team. We have Mitch D, Armando V, Greg L, and Michael Thomas, who all passed their state exams this week. So we're super excited to be in business with you. Hopefully you took a lot from what Josh had to say in terms of getting started and getting started fast. So let's go, guys. You're going to crush this thing. And then top weekend producer submit for week 3 was Keith Brandano at about 4,600. Way to go, Keith. Super proud of you for being top producer of the weekend. And one thing I do want to point out is, Keith, you crushed it. You outwrote the team. However, guys, 4,600. Keith, you probably wrote more than 4,600 over the past 2 days. So 4,600 on a weekend. We can do better than that. We all know we can, but I'm super proud of you, Keith, and I'm happy to see that you're a top producer for the weekend of week 3. All right, and this is really important because if Paul McLean taught me one thing, it was that we have to stay scheduled around the holidays, and it can be a little bit confusing. So sometimes we might say, like, okay, like, Christmas Eve is on this day, and like we might like overanalyze the whole thing. So we're going to try to collapse that a bit for you guys. So of course, we're dialing today for, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, however you want to tee that up, so to say, normal schedule. And then what I would encourage if you're not running on Sunday would be to just kind of preset some appointments before you're going into your dial day on Monday. And because Christmas Eve falls on Friday the 24th, and then Christmas is Friday the 25th, what we're going to go ahead and do is modify the schedule a little bit. So Monday the 20th will be a normal dial day, except what we're going to encourage is, if you are the person who, so taking a step back. So Paul had mentioned this to me before. I was like, yeah, I remember I said to Paul, and this was very selfish. This was a while ago. So it shows me I'm growing somewhere. I said to Paul, well, you know what? I think I'm going to take a couple of days off because I don't really need the money. And he said, okay, well, what about people on your team? I said, I didn't tell them to take the day off. And he's like, okay, but you didn't suggest anything? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, you probably should. And this was probably, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. But point being was, some of us might have, the luxury or whatever word you want to use of taking time off, or even if we're just ambitious and we want to crush a goal, don't feel like you need to miss run days because of Christmas, because you don't. I'm just being transparent with everybody. Love you guys. It's Christmas Eve, and I get it. And I want you guys to spend that time with your family. So what we're going to do is, again, I would encourage that people dial on Sunday Sunday evenings for me, like from like that, like 4 to like 6, 7-ish hour that's money. Like pretty much any time after like 1 o'clock dialing or door knocking on a Sunday, you're going to book appointments. Easy bookings. That's right, Zach. It's way easier to book somebody on a Sunday. They're chilling, they're relaxing, they're home, they're happy. And now Monday comes up. So preset some appointments on Sunday. Take a couple of hours and, just get it done. Yori, I love dialing on Sunday afternoons. That's why Yori issues like $100,000 a month on her own pen. So, and that's why Zach issues, we'll be issuing like 50, 60 grand in no time. So it's because that little bit extra is what actually matters. Like the little bit extra of saying, I'm going to make 30 more dials. That's what matters, because then sometimes you'll be like, oh, I booked one more appointment, and like, does that really matter? It definitely matters. Just to answer, it absolutely matters, because that one appointment could be the difference between you having a trash week and you having an incredible week. So always, like strive for that little bit more, a little bit extra. What can I do a little bit extra today to make sure I'm going to be a little bit better set up for the next couple of days? So going back to this upcoming week. So again, dial Sunday the 19th, but however, Monday the 20th will be a regular dial day. We'll have dial team, everything of that sort will be completely normal. And what we're recommending is that you run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So running 3 days in the field, but also remembering, like, if like you don't have enough leads, like, let's find a way to get you more leads. Reach out to your upline, reach out to me. Hey, I really want to kill it this weekend. This is what I can do for leads. What are your thoughts? Like, we want to help you, but we don't know that you need help unless you reach out. So dialing Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can realistically 8 to 10 appointments on all 3 of those days is going to be beautiful. You might be like, nobody wants me at their house on the day before Christmas Eve. And it's like, come on, like, what are they doing? Like, Sandra's baking muffins, like, like it's not that, we're not there that long. It's not that deep, so don't overthink that. And also just making sure, and I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but when we are, booking our appointments, saying, if I'm calling Valerie, I'm going to say, hey, Valerie, it's Marisa, when I go to set the appointment, I'm going to say, all right, Valerie, so they have me wrapping up, with some other homeowners in the area before the holidays. So I'm emphasizing, like, Valerie, you don't have a choice, okay? Like, it's before the holidays, we're blaming they, right? Not Sandra's muffins. Sandra's muffins can be cooked while we're there. We can even help her, right? So point being is, there's stuff people have to get done, yes, but at the same time, it's not that big of a deal. So let's not overthink it and don't create false thoughts in your brain. So making sure we're being proactive on the phone, though. Wrapping up with some others in the area before the holidays. They have me resolving everybody in your area before the holidays, however you want to phrase it, and then going into setting the appointment versus being like combative on the back end when they're like, oh, well, how about after Christmas? And you're like, well, like, no. And now you're dancing, right? Nobody wants to be dancing. So let's not do that. So that's pretty much what the schedule should look like. So again, dialing for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And here's what I can tell you is, yeah, it's 3 run days back to back to back. You can either take advantage of those days, or you could be like, I'm going to just kind of like be like light work. I'm going to run a couple appointments. Like, why even run 3 days then? Like, I'm not being mean when I say, like, why run 3 days if just run 2 full days. So point being is 8 to 10 appointments on each of those days. That's 30 appointments. That's a week schedule, right? So if you think about it from that perspective, it's, yes, you want to double your lead flow before we go into our next style day. You want to have extra leads, grab extra leads, utilize work spots, things of that sort to make sure that you're stacking the deck in your favor. If anybody has questions about that, please let me know. But other than that, we're good on this one, Chris. And this is actually great. So there's going to be a new agent call. We actually did our first or second one rather today. And it's going to be hosted typically by Paul. Sometimes it will be by somebody else within his base shop, like myself, Christina, Zach, Evan, Rochelle, and the list goes on. But essentially just to kind of plug in new agents to a call and being able to really kind of reconcile with, okay, what does this look like? Like, I did this call earlier today, so it's every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I would encourage plugging your new agents into it. Earlier, I had Rami on with me because he's in his first 90 days. And sometimes it is hard for me to bring myself back to being that brand new agent. So it's easier, you know, when I'm able to talk to brand new agents and say, okay, like, what does this look like? And that helps bring me back to some of my struggles and things that I wasn't necessarily good at, and still not good at everything, but definitely helped me out in that department. So plug your people in. So what time is it Central? I don't know. I would believe that would be 11 Central, but 12. Okay, thank you, Maddie. I appreciate you. So plug your agents into this. Plug yourself into it. If you're like, you know what, I'm new, or I just need a fresh start. I need a revamp. Plug yourself into this call. It's not going to hurt you. It's about 15, 20, 30 minutes max, and it will definitely help you out. So. All right, and then plugging into the training schedule really is key. If you're on this call, it probably means that you're plugging in, which is great. So the training schedule here that's highlighted in blue is really important. You want to make sure, if you're new and you're on the phones and, you call me, you're like, I've made 300 dials and I talked to, 40 people and I just can't seem to set an appointment. Of course, I'm going to help you out. But my first question is going to be, okay, were you on dial team? If you weren't on dial team, and like, I'm not being mean, but it's like, you're going to hear Valerie overcoming, I'm all set. You're going to hear Rami overcoming, I don't want anybody at my house. You're going to hear Zach overcoming any other objection that you're going to get under the sun. Like, well, I work from 6 to 6 and my wife works at 5 to, 3 in the morning. Like, you're going to see people overcoming these things so that you're able to overcome them. So make sure you plug into dial team. You're on the team call right now. The next level, which is tomorrow, Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. That call is awesome because it really plugs us into so many different people throughout the company, and you never know who you're going to resonate with. You might hop on that call and it might be, Easton Patton, and you're like, wow, I sound just like him. Like, I want to watch more of his trainings. I want to talk to him. I want to DM him on Facebook, whatever it might be. So plug into the training schedule. That's the only way that you're going to win. So, all right, and we're good there. And then things to do. So if you have not joined WorkSpots, I want you to text me, and I just want you to kind of tell me why. Because there's so many people on this call that have saved hundreds and thousands of dollars through WorkSpots, and it's $99 a month. Again, I'm not benefiting from this in any way, shape, or form, except the fact that you guys are going to have more leads in your hands, and I'm going to have more leads in my hands. So utilizing WorkSpots. The discount card, it helps your clients save on their prescription. So it's just another thing that you can kind of go ahead and add into, your in-home. So FFLdiscountcard.com. And then, like Josh just spoke about, if you have not yet registered for convention, register now. And I say this with all love. It's, it's a month and a half out. There's no excuse as to why we cannot register today and figure out plans for babysitting or whatever it might be. If you have a significant other who's not in the business but wants to join, please, please, please have them join you at that meeting. So it's not just for FFL agents, it's for maybe if you have friends or family that are looking into the company, they are allowed to be there as well, along with spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it might be. So just get registered and click the done button on that if you haven't already. So FFLconvention.com, do it, do it, do it. All right, Christina, awesome. So thank you guys so much for being on. Again, we're going into week 4 of 5, so let's make it a strong one. If anybody has questions, please feel free to reach out to me. But I hope you guys all have an awesome day. Take care. Bye.